Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new, my name is Lily and I'm a Chinese transracial adoptee. Every week I post videos about my experience as a transracial adoptee, so if that's something you're interested in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into the video. Hey everyone, so this is the second video that I'm filming in my batch filming session, which is why I probably look the exact same as last week, but really it's just the same day for me. But yeah, I wanted to just do a little story time about racism. It's one I haven't talked about on this channel before yet, and yeah, it's a really short story. I was probably 15 or 16 and I was at the movie theaters, and my friends and I were waiting in line, and then there was a group of girls in the line next to us. They were all white, and they saw me, and then within their little huddle just started really loudly. Basically, they were shouting jokes about Asian people, and they were basically mimicking in a very offensive way nail salons. And my friends looked at me, and I looked at my friends, and I think I just shook my head and was like, just forget it. Like, let's just move on. And I honestly think that's a reaction that's very common among people who are experiencing racism, especially in front of other people. I mean, I don't know. It's my reaction pretty much every single time. And online, you always see people standing up against racism. And this is what I defended myself. I videotaped this incident, whatever. And I don't think that is as common as we really think it is. I mean, here's the deal. There's X amount of videos on the internet about people being racist and society or the person being attacked standing up for themselves, but racism happens every single day to people of color, and we don't see thousands, millions of videos about this. And the honest truth about it is, when I experience racism, I feel ashamed of myself, and I feel embarrassed, and I don't want to draw attention to the fact that I have whatever feature they're making fun of, or I don't look the way they think I should look. I guess that's the point of racism. It's hatred, and it makes people feel terrible about themselves, and it would be so easy to just be able to block it all out and to stand up for yourself at all times, but it's not, because the thing is, that wasn't the first time I had experienced something like that. And like people making fun of my eyes, that happened, the last overt time that happened to me was about 2 years ago when I was 24 years old, and it was perpetrated by a man in his late 30s at least. He was clearly a grown adult man. And it would be so easy to just kind of stand up for yourself and laugh it off. But at the same time, when you experience that type of racism, at least for me, I automatically start thinking about all the other times people made fun of my eyes, all the other times people made fun of my skin, my hair, whatever. And it's like, I mean, I get why experiencing racism is triggering, and why continuously experiencing it triggers all of those other traumatic memories. And so I think it's pretty natural to feel bad about yourself, and I think it does take a lot of strength to stand up for yourself and to defend yourself. And there are times when I wish that when I was with my friends and I experienced racism, they would have said something, but I also recognize that they probably don't know how to. And we as a society don't teach people how to do that. And I think we're now starting to move into having trainings in how to stand up against racism and how to be a proper ally. But in the early 2000s, we definitely didn't have that. And I wasn't going to expect my friends in elementary school to know how to do that and to help me out, especially when I was confused about how to handle it myself. Because in every situation, you have to decide, is it safe to stand up for yourself? Like, are you going to be escalating the situation just by asking someone to not do something because it's offensive? For example, like I said in the first story time I did about the guy pulling his eyes into slits, I didn't feel safe standing up for myself because he was clearly intoxicated. He was probably 100 pounds heavier than me, maybe more, and I was just standing there in my barely 5'4" self, like, okay, I guess I can run fast. So racism sucks. That's it. Like, we need to get rid of it. We need to teach people how to not be racist, and we need to teach people how to be proper allies. But I think it's just way more common for people, especially transracial adoptees, to experience racism and to not know what to do about it because we don't really know how to be people of color. We don't really know how to embrace our identities and to stand up for ourselves, because typically the way we're taught is like, oh, just ignore it and it'll go away. They just want to get a rise out of you. They just want a reaction from you. But like, racism is a different level. It's not just bullying or like mean words. It's like a literal hateful attack on you purely because you are of whatever race. So to the adoptees out there who experience racism and don't know what to do about it, I get it. And when you experience it in the moment, for me, like, my brain kind of freezes and I'm like, okay, what the heck am I supposed to do now? And then later on, I'm like, man, I could have done this, and this, but I didn't do any of it. And now I just like feel dumb. I feel weak because I advocate about standing up for yourself and owning your identity. But then I get into this situation and like, I can't do anything. And I just, like, I understand why that happens. It's traumatic, it's triggering, and everyone is still learning how to deal with racism and how to be an ally and how to own our identities. So don't feel bad about not being able to do anything about it, and just find support and find people who have gone through it and can just sit there with you and say, like, yeah, it sucks. And maybe they can give some advice, like, maybe you could say this, or maybe you could do this, but of course, like, think about your own safety first. Find a way to process it and not feel guilty about it because you did nothing wrong. You were just existing, and it was a hateful person who said something super mean or super offensive or super racist to you. That has been, I guess, what I've been working on. When people give me hateful, aggressive comments and racist comments, and I feel guilty for not responding in a certain way, I'm like, wait a second. Why am I putting this responsibility on me? Because I was just living my life, doing whatever I was doing, and then people decided to use their energy to be hateful towards me. And that's not on me. That's not my responsibility. That is the responsibility of other people's. But I'm not going to make this video too long. I just think that touches on a topic that is very prevalent in the world. Like, for some reason, it's always on the person of color to forgive, to accept the apology. And if they don't, then suddenly we're the bad guys again. And I'm like, I mean, if that person is just a hateful person, like, I don't need to accept their apology. I don't need to forgive them. But if I don't, then the world's going to be like, oh, you're a bad guy. Like, you're heartless. You need to forgive them. They're clearly doing the work. Okay, they shouldn't have been racist to begin with. There are very, very obvious, clear racist things that are taught, and people are still using them. And if you don't seem to know that it's racist, I don't know what to tell you. That's my thing. So deal with racism however you feel like you need to deal with it, the best, healthiest way for you. Just don't put the guilt and the responsibility on yourself, because we can only control ourselves, and unfortunately there are just really sucky people in the world, and we can't be responsible for all of their actions. So thank you so much for watching. If you are interested in more videos, you can always check out these two right here. But other than that, I will see you next time.